Thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you for those kind words. So let me start by saying that at CureBay, we are looking at revolutionizing primary healthcare by solving for last mile. And the way we are looking at doing it is by actually creating a delivery model which is hybrid. So we are aggregating the health tech providers on our platform. At the same time, we are creating last mile connectivity by opening a network of microsatellite centers. We have realized that in this country, the provider and patient ratio, specifically when it comes to public healthcare, is so skewed that it is impossible to solve it if we purely depend on a brick and mortar model. Even technology on its own cannot solve it because technology has limitations in terms of bringing certain services in healthcare to make it holistic if you have to look at creating a complete impact. Hence, we have created a hybrid model where service providers are coming on our platform and able to deliver their services through this platform, where the connectivity of the services, part digital and part physical, happens in our remote microcenters that we call as e-clinics. I draw attention to how technology has been used in healthcare, and it's important for all of us to understand that. And I always say that there's a good, bad, and ugly part of it. The good part of technology intervention in healthcare has been on the medtech side. We have some brilliant IPs which have been created on devices, on how data can be measured and risk profiling of non-communicable diseases can be done, which saves life. The bad part is how we have vanilla use of telemedicine, which is nothing but a video call, and you haven't looked at a holistic approach. And the ugly part is what I talk about when you talk about commerce as health tech. When you're selling just medicines online, that is commerce. That is not really health tech. Now, let me draw attention to how the true IPs on health tech are helping people, right? Let me give an example of breast cancer. Now, how many of you know that breast cancer diagnosed early in India, the success rate is 90%? However, for every 2 people detected with breast cancer, 1 dies. So the mortality rate is 50%, purely because there is no early detection. And specifically for people living in remote locations, culturally, it is not very suitable to go for things like mammography and all. Now you have emerging technologies where you use an intelligent IR camera, which without any human intervention captures the heat sensitive image, and then you can do a risk profiling of the patient into high risk, low risk, mid risk. And the moment you diagnose them with a high risk, you immediately connect the dots and get them to speak to an oncologist, which saves a life. So the way I look at technology, emerging technologies, how do you connect multiple pieces to really save a life down at an area where even it was not remotely possible and conceivable earlier to take technology? And I must say that while all of us who leverage technology, use technology to create such impact, are converts, and we believe that it can be done, there has also been a massive tailwind after the pandemic, because the hesitant that people had to take healthcare services on a digital platform is removed. Now people are fairly comfortable, taking healthcare services. Equally important, it is on the supply side, because registered medicine practitioners now are very clear that they can use digital platforms without any fear of any compliance and statutory norms to deliver the service. So now it's up to us, to see how do we use such emerging technologies, how we use devices. Like we use a very high-end 12-lead ECG, which is a very easy hand to carry device in the remote locations. You can take an ECG and people don't die thinking it's a gastric problem anymore. Moment that you diagnose it, you connect it with a cardiologist and you save lives. So application of the technology always existed. It is, I think, the application and then connecting the dots with the ecosystem, which is really going to save lives. I believe, Deepak, to be very honest, that line is becoming more and more vague. You cannot separate technology from business. And then let me give you a live example. Today, when I run this healthcare venture, I truly believe that I'm not just the CEO, but I'm also the CDO. And the reason I say that, every aspect of business, from customer acquisition on the demand side to managing payments to all your providers on the supply side, to aggregating them and ensuring the dots are connected, everything will be solved using technology. right? So you cannot in isolation think about figuring out a solution or building grounds up to solve the problem without figuring out, how you use technology to do that. Because as a startup, your aim is speed and scale. And if you want to achieve speed and scale, you need to ensure that you're using the right platforms, the right technologies, and in the right manner. So to me, that line is very vague. Today, it is deeply coupled, the joint at the hip. So every time you think of a business opportunity, every time you identify a gap, you at the same time think of how you're going to leverage processes as well as technology to solve for it if you're looking for speed and scale.